Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Green Effect podcast. This is episode number 32, and we've got a really special one today. For the first time, we've got a Realtor Roundtable. I brought together three really special realtors who I've worked with, who I know, who do fantastic work for their clients. We've got Annabell from Remax, Jennie from Davenport, Joe from Cloud. They all bring something special and unique to the table, and I wanted to have them all on to go through it. But first of all, I must mention our sponsor for our show, Ignite Volleyball Club. You know the shameless plug process. We've got all sorts of youth programs, club teams, age 4 right on up. Make sure you visit the website, www.ignitevolleyball.ca, for more details. So in this first episode with Annabell, Jennie, and Joe, we're going to talk about some really neat topics. How have people and clients changed over the years? Some of them have been doing real estate for a long time, some of a shorter time. How have they seen changes? How do they balance or juggle or whatever their work and personal lives and families and kids? How do they balance all that? What do their clients value? I think all clients value different things, but what do they notice with their clients in particular? How has marketing changed? I know between social media and birthday cards and phone calls, it's changed a lot. And of course, there's lots of changes lately, especially in KW, with realtors switching between brokerages. Why? We talk a little bit about that. What makes up a brokerage for these folks? Without further delay, let's get into a great conversation with Annabell, Jennie, and Joe on the Realtor Roundtable.
Welcome to the Green Effect Podcast. Finance, life, business, and everything in between. And now, your host, Stephen Green.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Green Effect podcast. On today's podcast, we've got three fantastic realtors. It's our first Realtor Roundtable, so you guys are pretty special. You're the first ones on a Realtor Roundtable on the show. How do you guys feel about that?
That's great.
It's pretty awesome.
That's
pretty
the
good.
answer. Good. I like that. I love it. And we even had to bring in a fourth microphone, right? I mean, the show's just getting bigger, right? It's just getting bigger. So to my left, we've got Annabell Tranter, and you're from Remax Real Estate Centre here in Kitchener. We've got Jennie Fisher from Davenport Realty and Joe Dykes from Cloud Realty. So welcome to all of you. Let's get right into it. My first question for all of you, your 1-minute elevator speech. So I'm going to go around the table. I need to know your name, your previous life's employment, because I'm pretty sure nobody goes through life thinking, when they're a teenager, I want to be a real estate agent, right? Am I right?
That's
Okay,
right.
good.
Yeah.
Just want to make sure. No one went to real estate school in high school. They didn't take that class. Okay, good. So I want to know what your previous life employment was, time as a realtor, and of all the other great paying jobs, why did you guys pick being a realtor? Annabell, over to you first.
All right. So I spent 18 years in the credit and collection business, which is also about negotiating, just like real estate. Towards the end, I was the vice president of operations and had 300 employees, and decided I needed to downsize the employee base. So I went to BlackBerry, and I spent 4.5 years with BlackBerry. And I know you were joking that nobody wants to be a realtor as a teenager. But when I was a kid, we used to have, I don't know if you guys remember, Channel 11 on the local TV was the real estate channel. And it would flip through houses and show you photos of them and the price and all of that. And I would watch it as a 10, 11, 12-year-old and drive my father crazy, because he would say, oh, we've already seen this, let's change the channel. And I'd say, well, you see something new every time. Let's just keep watching. So while I was at BlackBerry, I did my real estate courses and then started into real estate from there.
Very good, very good. Now, typical realtor, went over a little bit of a minute.
Sorry.
Kept going. I know. I knew going into this, I would have to practice keeping everybody on schedule and stuff, so all good. So you're a BlackBerry person then?
I am.
And you, okay, very good. Excellent. So, and also being in collections, that's going to give you a totally different look on everything.
Correct.
Right?
Yes.
So, all right, very good. Jennie, over to you.
Well, my name is Jennie Fisher, and I've been in real estate for 2 years, but previous to that, I was in social services for 27 years, primarily working with community living Guelph Wellington, which had a very large presence in the Wellington County and city of Guelph. And why did I become a realtor? I finished off my career at community living as a supervisor, and as much as I enjoyed it, I felt like there was something else for me. And having a background, educational background in real estate law, I thought this was a really nice transition, and I've enjoyed my last 2 years.
So collections, real estate law, does that help or hurt you being a realtor? Because I have a background in fraud detection, is how I should say that. Does that impact how you guys do your business? Because you have that very, how do I put it, non-salesy but very technical background?
Well, I think the collections piece helps with negotiating and understanding. Collections isn't like what people think it is, right? You're asking people questions about their circumstances, and then you're trying to help them get to a resolution that works for them, right? Well, if you think about real estate, you're working with first-time home buyers, people who are downsizing, upsizing. You need to get a good understanding of their needs and then work with them. And then you also need to negotiate with the other side to make sure it's a win-win. So I think the collections piece helps with that, and probably the real estate law too, right?
For me, real estate law definitely helps, knowing the documents. I know them from the other side of completion, as well as I spent a lot of time in the registry office title searching prior to automation. So when
because you actually enjoy it.
I actually did. I know whoever says they enjoy title searching, but I absolutely loved it. And so that's just brought a lot more knowledge and understanding to my real estate business.
Very good. Okay, Joe, over to you, bud. Give me that 1 minute elevator speech. Go.
Okay, your 1 minute. So I've had quite a diverse career since I've been out in the industry. At a very young age, I owned 4 go-kart tracks in Kitchener-Waterloo. From there, I went on to the cosmetics world, believe it or not. I spent 10 years, 5 years in Montreal as a director of a cosmetics company and took care of all the North America.
I will say your hair looks great.
Yeah, so is my skin.
Yeah,
So is my skin. and then after that, I opened up a small healthcare company doing advanced wound care for long-term cares in hospitals. And then, having employees was something I just wasn't really interested in doing anymore. And real estate was something that ran in my wife's side of the family. And they had been encouraging me for 15, 20 years to get into it. And I thought to myself, you know what, this is the time. Take the rest destination of your life. And it's just been a wonderful career ever since I got in it.
So everyone has one thing in common, including me. You didn't want to manage people anymore.
That's right.
Absolutely done.
Funny how that goes, eh?
But we're all managing people nonstop. When we take on a seller or a buyer, you're always managing them the whole entire time anyways. But at least it's not 100 people anymore, or 50 people, or 20 or 5 or whatever it happens to be.
Yeah, it's that's funny. There's that one common part there. So, okay, so let me ask you this, Annabell. So you've been doing this how many years now?
6 years.
Okay. How have people changed? So, it used to be, there used to be faxes. There used to be you present offers at the kitchen table with people. But over the years, how have things changed? And 6 years, it's been a lot of changes. Mm-hmm. How have people changed over the 6 years you've been doing this? And clients in particular. Yeah,
so I think people are a little bit more educated now because of the internet, so you can see a lot more information out there on the internet. The millennials that I work with are fantastic because they just seem to know everything about, the technical pieces of it.
Whether they do or not.
Well, a lot of them do, but
right.
Yeah. But I think overall, in terms of dealing with people and dealing with them one-on-one, they really haven't changed that much. So when we're presenting offers, even in multiples, sometimes it helps to kind of do it old school. I don't know what you guys think about this, but sometimes I think it helps to actually go there and sit down with the seller and have that discussion.
Definitely try to push on getting in front of that seller.
Right.
A lot of times you're blocked, but you can try to push to get in front of them the best you can.
Yeah.
And I agree 100%. That's almost gone.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So when you guys say getting in front of your seller, like you have a you have a buyer and you're trying to get in front of the actual seller of the home, like yourself.
For the offer presentation, yeah. So say, you know, there's 20 or 21 offers. If I can sit down with the seller and their realtor and talk about my buyer and put that person's best foot forward right there and have a discussion and answer any questions the seller may have, then my buyer has a better chance to actually be able to win that negotiation.
Okay, so now it becomes truly almost telling your client's story to try to win, because you talked about 21 offers, and I mean, we're in Kitchener, Waterloo. I know it's this way in other places too, with just multiples, right? People fighting for stuff. So you're saying if you can get in front of them, is it tough to get in front of these?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So the listing agent is really protecting them almost.
I block all mine. It's almost impossible to get in front of my sellers. Yeah, because I don't want you there. I don't want you pulling at their heartstrings. You know what I mean? I want it to be dollars and cents, an educated decision, and I want to do what's best for my seller. You know what I mean? I don't want somebody to come in. I don't want a buyer agent to come in and have my seller going, oh, geez, you're right. They are a young couple and they just had a baby. Maybe we should cut them a slack instead of this. So it's tough, because on the other side, I want to get in front of that seller and give them that story to get my clients that deal. You know what I mean?
It's
But if
also time.
Yeah, it is time.
You know, to get in front of a listing, you know, a seller with, you know, your offer presentation, it takes time, and it means you're going somewhere, you know, and you're meeting some people, and, you know, there's that nervousness and all of that stuff, and then as a listing agent, you know, they're taking up your time, right? Because I just want to get through these 8 offers, right? I don't want to, you know, have 8 presentations that's going to take us 4 hours to get through.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
But I think there's some benefit also to the sellers, because they have the opportunity to ask the agent questions. So I can think of an example where I won in multiples. My offer was actually, the other agent showed me his offer because he couldn't believe that we won. He was the listing agent. The other offer was $5,000 higher than my client's offer, but my client said, here's my banker's card. I'm putting a $50,000 mortgage on, the rest is cash.
Yeah.
Feel free to tell the seller and give them the card,
Oh, yeah.
right? So I think it benefits the seller to know that information, and also the buyer to have that information.
I think these days, if you're going into
Available.
multiple offer situation, you've got to go in stacked. Even if you can't get in front of them, you have to have, a letter from the bank saying, they're good to go 100%. You've got to have everything done and checked in place for it to be looked at. Because I know when I do it, and maybe you guys do it the same way, it's like you've got your piles. You're like, okay, I've got my great people here. I've got all their banking information exactly. I've got a letter. They can call XYZ from this place. We're ready to roll. I know they're good. Or I've got a letter from the parent saying they're going to cover that $150,000 gap of what, basically the house is really worth and what it might sell for. So those are all things, as a selling agent, I'm always looking for that kind of stuff to make sure my guys are getting, accepting the right offer, which is
Right.
basically exactly what you were saying.
So let me ask that question then, because this has come up on the show before. As a listing agent, what is the most important? The most money for your seller, or the best offer?
I think that depends on your seller, and that's really knowing your seller and what's their motivation. Why are they moving, right? Are they moving because they're downsizing? Are they moving because it's a matrimonial split? That's going to totally change what you're going for. Mm-hmm. I think that's really important. I don't know about the two of you.
No, you're 100% right. It's all circumstantial. It can be $10,000 less with a better closing date and no conditions, and somebody that brought a letter saying it's going to be a cash offer and all that kind of stuff, than say something with a home inspection.
Yeah.
And a worse closing date, or each offer is different, and you have to be able to read them properly and either accept or negotiate them back properly.
So even less about, and it might sound crazy and obvious, but less about what's important to you and just more about what's important to them and just where they are in life, separation or second home or whatever the
Sure.
case may be. Okay, yep, fair enough. It's a tough one because it's obviously in multiples, all these houses are going for crazy prices. Like, they're just crazy prices, and so you can just take the highest one because that's what you want. Or, to your point, are we doing necessarily what's right? Because maybe an offer with a condition of financing might be the best offer. Has that ever happened? An offer with a condition of financing is
Yeah.
the best offer?
I accepted one a couple years ago like that.
couple years ago.
Yeah,
Okay.
a couple years ago.
Funny
like that,
timing.
yeah.
Yeah.
There was actually one 2 weeks ago where they had 31 offers, and the offer that got it was conditional on financing for 2 days, and it ended up falling apart. And then they went back. I mean, they still got way over the asking price, but that's one of the risks that a seller has to understand, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's tougher for a bank to get things done on time too, because then we're under the same time constraints and stuff like
Right.
that. So, Jenny, I'll start with you on this, because I mean, you're still relatively new to this whole game.
Sure am. 2 years.
And yeah, and how do you balance work, family? You've got what, 4 kids?
3.
3. Okay.
They're adults, so it's a little bit
yeah,
different.
but they don't usually ever really completely leave. Like,
No,
you know,
no,
it's,
no, they don't.
you know, we've spoken in the lunchroom, but so how do you balance this? 2 years into this, how do you balance this?
I think from my perspective, it's actually been a lot easier for me to learn to balance my real estate and my family life. Actually, and I don't even look at it as a balance. I look at it as how are we going to, make it work? Because it's never going to be balanced. There's times that I have to be at home, so it's going to be heavier on that side. There's times where I'm going to have to be at work, so then I'm heavier on the work side. So I don't really see it as a balancing act. I just see it as where's the priority. And in my last career, having a salaried position, and there was deadlines, and there was a lot of deadlines that there was no option. There was a lot of stuff to do. There was inspections. There was payroll, all of that stuff. I actually find this is a lot easier for me to attribute the proper amount of attention that my family needs or my real estate career.
Show of hands, could anyone right now go back to a regular salaried 9-to-5 job?
I've never had one.
Okay, so that's easy for you then.
I
should try
have.
it one time just to experience it.
I have, and I would say it would be really, really difficult because I like being able to just, all right, that's it. I'm tired. I'm done. I'm out of here. I've done what I needed to do today, and I'm going to work from home tomorrow morning. Or, yeah, I've booked a couple appointments in the afternoon. So, just making that flexibility. I absolutely love the flexibility.
Well, and I'm in the same boat too, where I could never go back to a job like that. But I also think, and maybe Joe speak to this, because of that flexibility, you can serve your clients a little bit better. You can make your schedule around them. Do you find that with your clients?
Yeah. I mean, at least myself speaking, whenever my clients are on me, I'm available. It's I've been used to my whole entire career basically working 7 days a week, and I've never actually found that proper work-life balance. It's always been more work, and this summer was the first time I think I found the balance, where I took almost 2.5 months off straight and just spent it at the lake and did things that I wanted to do, and then only came back when it was like really good clients that were like, hey, I got a listing coming up, and then but then you take that time off, and then all of a sudden you're playing catch up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You got to get,
Because there's no one else to do the work.
no, you got your foot back on that gas pedal and get going. So, but there is some rules that I have and I've had forever. Since the day cell phones come out, they don't come to the lunch table. They don't come to the dinner table. And if I don't have a deal on the go, I'll shut them off at 9:00 at night. But I will work all day Saturday and all day Sunday and Monday to Friday.
And Annabelle, you text me at weird times.
Yeah, that's part of the BlackBerry culture.
Okay.
I'm just going to throw that there. That doesn't die easy.
There's sometimes I text you at night after my wife has gone to sleep.
Right.
So do you have a no phone at the table rule or anything? No, your phone's just...
My phone is
just always
well,
on.
you have to remember, there's 4.5 years of conditioning behind that with working at BlackBerry. I mean, you were always on there. I could be over in Scotland with my team over there, and people over here would be working, and it'd be the middle of the night in Scotland, and I would still need to be working it on my phone, right? And so that has never really died away. Plus, I'm a bit of a night hawk.
You are.
I like the nighttime better than the morning. If you call me at 7:30, I'm going to be a little bit sleepy, but you could call me at 2 a.m. and I will talk to you.
Don't call me at 2 a.m.
I won't do that.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
You can call me at 2 a.m.
I can't sleep. Annabelle, I can't sleep. What, your clients, what are they mainly? Are they a combination of owner occupied, investor? Is that a combination of both for all of you? Okay.
Yeah.
What do you find clients value? Because one of you said earlier, there's so much information out there, and we get that in the mortgage world too. Like there's so much information, and some of it's good, some of it's bad, some of it just requires more context. But what do your clients value?
I mean, for me, my clients, and the reason I get basically all referrals is what I work off of is I work really hard for my clients. I have a really good knowledge of construction and building. I mean, I've done tons of houses myself. I've got a good eye for basically all the codes and everything that are out there. So when I'm in a home and they're in this home for the first time, they're like, oh my God, this thing is the most gorgeous thing in the world. I'm not there to break their dreams, but I'm also there to say, okay, well, that's awesome. Here's some structural damage. Here's some problem up here. This is totally wrong here. But this is also easily repairable, or this isn't easily repairable. So, I'm really good at that. And that's why a lot of my clients have said, oh my God, that guy was great to deal with, and have passed me on to somebody else. Or, I can hold their hand if I need to hold their hand. If they got to see 25 houses, no problem. If they're not ready to list right now, no problem. I'm going to keep you informed of what's going on. And whenever you are. It's not going to be pressure or anything like that. But when it does come time to go to fight for you, I'm going to be there 100%.
Yeah, perfect.
So,
Annabell, what about your clients? What do you notice they value?
So I don't think, Joe, you really used the word, but the word for that really is honesty, right?
Well,
and I think that's what people are looking for.
Yeah.
If somebody is wanting to see a house and it's in a really bad neighborhood,
Yeah.
and I wouldn't live there with my kids or let my kids live in that neighborhood, I'm going to tell them. And Stephen, one of your coworkers actually joked that I was a bad realtor because we were out looking at a house, and I said, look at the neighbor's house. I don't think you want to buy this. And
Yeah.
so
I've done that.
But you need to
Of
do
course.
those things for
We all
people
have.
because you know that you've got the blinders on, you're house shopping. You're maybe not going to notice the things that we're going to notice because we're not emotionally invested in it. So we need to call that out.
That's key, is emotional investment.
Yeah.
And I run into that with my clients too, where I sometimes I'm honest to a fault, but I think it's the best thing.
Sure
I'd rather be too honest than come across like I'm full of it.
Well, I don't think you're going to lose that client by being too honest.
No,
No,
you're
they're going to
absolutely
appreciate
correct.
it.
Yeah. Jennie, what do you notice?
I actually, this is kind of cool because I've just been doing reaching out to clients and asking for reviews lately. And I have this couple that I've been working with for about 6 months, and we've looked at a lot of houses. They actually bought a house while I was on vacation that I had showed them that I thought wasn't their house. For some reason, they went back and they put an offer in, and I got back and we closed it. And I sold it the week later because it wasn't her house. And the review, I thought that could be a huge negative against me, but her review was the knowledge that I was bringing to the table and how, decision or not, I was not pressuring them into a decision that I felt was right or wrong. And also they've been looking for a lot of different contractors and people in the area. So I've just connected them with those people. And we're still looking for their dream home. And, one of the things in her review was that I'm tireless and, to work with them to find the exact house that they want. And I think that's one of the big things that people value is that I'm dedicating my time and my patience to help them figure it out, because nobody goes into this knowing exactly what they want. They have an idea, right? But sometimes you gotta look at the house that you think is perfect, and then all of a sudden, there's a river running the basement, and it's like, okay, this is not the perfect house, and you move on to another one, and it's like, maybe you show up at a house that you weren't even planning to look at, and it's just perfect. So listening to the client and what's important to them.
It's funny sometimes as you say that, you'll meet somebody for the first time, and I'm sure we've all done it. And it's like, yeah, I'm looking for a 2-story bungalow, finished basement, or a 2-story, with finished basement, swim pool, and they end up buying in a completely other neighborhood, and it's a bungalow, it's like just 100% different than they wanted, and they're like, yep, no, that's actually what we wanted.
Exactly,
Yeah.
right? So I think that's it. It's getting a feel for the people and just being patient and helping them navigate the waters and figuring out what exactly they want.
Yeah.
So open question to anybody, on average, because I think first-time home buyers / millennials, again, different world. On average, how many houses are these people looking at? when they go to buy their first home? 5, 10, 30?
I have a guy who just got his very first home, and we looked at, I think, about 22.
I think it depends on the buyer, though, right? I had one who, the second place we looked at, we put in the offer because it was at the exact location, the exact property. And then I went house shopping with my niece and nephew, and I think we saw 30 houses. It took forever because they weren't on the same page with each other.
Oh,
And
boy.
sometimes that's what happens, right? It just takes everybody
A little bit
getting
of
on the same
marriage
page.
counseling and stuff
I
like
think
that.
the
yeah.
other part too is, what are their needs versus their wants? Because that can also impact, and what's their budget? Because all of those things can, like, I worked with a family with 5 kids with a very limited budget. We looked at a lot of houses to find them the right one because the specifics were, it wasn't about location. It was like, okay, where can we put everybody to sleep?
Sure.
And can we all sit around the dining room table?
Yeah.
So that made it, and is there a decent yard for the toddlers to play in? And are we close enough that the teenagers can walk the little ones to school? Like, there's all these
Yeah.
There's like
balls
logistics involved
Sure.
with balancing a family,
in there,
right?
and
Or
then,
whatever it might
and
be.
then you show up with somebody, and the first house they looked at, and you're putting an offer, and they're like, do we do this? Like, is this the first house? Is this okay? And it's like, if it's your house, it's your house,
yeah.
right?
Yeah. And I think that's, sometimes people don't know what they want until they see it, or they don't see it, and it's got it. And now, Joe, have you ever had a client where they're getting ready to buy a house and you're in your head, you're like, please don't buy this house, but they go ahead and they do it? How do you manage that?
Yeah, so I've had clients do that, and I've gone back to them and said, okay, let's go into the house one more time. Show me what you love about this house. And and they'll be like, well, I love this and I love this and I love this. And I go, okay, well, I appreciate that's what you like. So then we're going to go ahead and we're going to buy this house. I'm just going to let you know, this is what I'm seeing, and if it, in particular at this time, we could actually have home inspections. And when the home inspection came back, it was a solid house. It was a dated house, but it still needed, it needed the kitchens, it needed the bathrooms. It still had that one single strange, weird toilet that the older homes always had in the middle of the basement. You know what I mean? And it was the client buying it was somebody that was not handy and wanted all the modern finishes. So, but as we all just touched on, people fall in love with the weirdest stuff, right?
Yeah.
It speaks to them. Maybe it reminds them of their grandma's house or something, right?
No, my grandmother's house looked like, I'm good.
Mine
I'm
looks
good.
exactly like the one I live in now.
No,
Yeah. Yeah.
So here's a question, and that you guys were kind of talking about clients and what they value. So how has your marketing evolved? So you said you're only on referral business. Jennie, I know you make outbound calls. I know you have a lot of referral business. And anyone can start with this. How has, over the time frame you've been doing this, how has your marketing to your clients changed? Are you doing more social media, less social media, mail outs, phone call, birthday cards? How has it changed?
I mean, you've been in it longer than me, but about 6 months. So when I started in it, it was 100% social media. So I do get, most of my business comes referral, but I do get, some stuff off of social media. So, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. And then I do like to keep it. I don't do the automatic monthly emails or anything like that. But what I do is I keep in touch with everybody the amount of time that I feel I would like to be kept in touch with. So everybody for their birthday, they get a nice birthday card with a custom, I do Tim Hortons cards with my face on it and my branded logo and everything.
I've seen those.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so-
those are pretty cool. You
yeah,
can get them right off the website.
Yeah,
Take
so
note.
people get those, and they got to look at my mug at least a couple times while they use it, so it reminds them of me. You know what I mean?
Good hair, nice skin.
Yeah, good hair, nice skin. So I don't know. You guys, how do you keep in touch?
How do I keep it? Well, with my database, we do our monthly mailers, whether it rotates, whether it's actual newsletter that goes out in the mail, and then our email, and then, I try and touch my database, like my top people, at least once every 2 months. And then there's some people that it's like once every 4 months, and then there's the 6 months, and then there's the people that just don't want to be reached out to very often at all. So then, and then, I might pop by with a little something. And I think my social media is definitely growing. Instagram and Facebook, and that's kind of my focus at the moment.
So I'm not big on social media, as you probably know, and
You do have a
anybody who
Facebook
looks at my,
page, though.
I do have a Facebook page.
Couldn't find you on Instagram.
I have, my assistant can tell you how to find me, but I do have.
For those of you
Instagram,
listening, I
apparently.
tried to tag these guys on the photo when I was prepping for this yesterday, and I found everyone, but I just couldn't find you.
I think
on
you
there.
tagged my personal one, not my work one.
Okay, see, now that's an issue, right?
There you
That's But so you're getting into it a little bit more, though, right?
A little bit, yeah. So Sam, my assistant, is young, 21, so she loves social media, which is fabulous because I'm not big on that, right? So I'm more about, Christmas card, you get a little calendar in the mail, put it on your fridge, magnetic calendar, doing movie nights, having people come out, actually saying hello, going around. This year I'm going to do some delivery of Christmas cards with honey from one of the local farmers, to try and support, one of the local farmers, and just talking to people on the phone and in person, right? So I guess it's a bit old-fashioned and takes a little more time, but I mean, I do the mailers and things, but 90% of my business is by referral, which is the preference, right? Because people like people who are like them. So when you get a referral, it's generally someone who is like the person that's referring them, and I work with a really great group of people. So. Yeah.
And I think there's sometimes a balance too. Like I send out birthday cards, but I'm also big on the social media side too. So it's almost you get kind of capture everyone a little bit too, right? So I've had people take pictures of the birthday card I've sent them and post it on social media. I'm like, that's the best of both worlds.
Oh, totally.
You got the card and you put it on social media. Perfect.
And then you're like, share.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's absolutely right.
But it's killer because when you look at the younger people, in their 20s and something, and we're probably all the same. We're like, oh, good, I've got 600 followers, and we're like, woo, and they have 9,000.
Yeah.
It's just like crazy.
Well, I learned from my daughter. She's 16, and so she said on Instagram, it's a like for a like. So if someone likes you, you got to like them back. That's how it happens. I'm like, oh, okay. That's why she's got 1,000 or whatever. Sure. But high school kids, they do. They have 1,200.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's every kid in the frickin' school.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So, but they should all be realtors and they grow up because they got all those followers on there. But
They're great at networking.
They really are. They really are. On social media, exactly. Okay, so here's a question for you. So there's been a lot of, I think in Kitchener, Waterloo, there's been a lot of changes in brokerages. So there's some new ones popping up. Some realtors are moving to and from. Why so much change? Why so much flux? Why, why? Because I've been with the same bank for 8 years. Haven't really moved. Been a happy guy. No reason to move. But why? Why does this happen? Because I'm sure your clients probably wonder, right? If one day, and now correct me if I'm wrong, most of them are probably with you because of you. You can work wherever you want, but why? Why that change? Why does that happen?
Oh, I'll speak to that. I know for me, when I was getting into the business, I researched brokerages and who do I want to be with. And it wasn't about, for me, it wasn't about a name. It was what's the feel. I'm a very people person. So I wanted to know what are the services, what's offered, and finding the right fit for me was what was important. And then joining a team, and the right team that was the right fit for me. And I think that's one of the biggest things that, if you don't find your niche in a brokerage, then people kind of migrate around to, and then there's always the grass is greener. I don't know what you guys think about that, but grass is greener, and
and it's fresh for you. You just moved.
Yeah.
Right.
Just a little over 3 weeks ago, I joined Cloud Realty. I was with Woolly Realty for just over 5 years, and it was a great 5 years. I love the brokerage. Mark Woolley that runs the place, total great guy, was there to answer absolutely anything in the world. But I was just ready for a change. That was a bigger brokerage. I was ready to go to a smaller, more boutique type stuff. and I wanted to be around a bunch of other Joe Dykeses, high energy, little.
Your niche.
Yeah,
Finding
exactly.
your people, right?
And when I ended up walking into Cloud Realty, I mean, all the guys are a lot like me. We're kind of a little loud, a little outgoing, and it was literally the first time I walked in there, I was like, yep, this is the place I want to go to work at.
And you have a pool table, so
We have a pool table,
we
poker
say
table,
more,
bar.
right?
We got all the cool stuff there too,
there you
right?
go.
Yeah.
All the toys.
All the toys.
The boys' toys, yeah.
It is.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's a good club.
Annabell, you've been with the same realty group, I believe, for the whole time.
Remax, yeah.
Yeah. So, same question to you. Why do you see the change? You haven't moved.
No.
I'll throw it maybe different to you. Why haven't you moved?
Well, it's kind of like what Jennie said about doing the research. When I first started in real estate and was doing my courses, I interviewed, I think it was 5 or 6 brokerages, got all the information on their splits, their training, their support, their processes, everything, put the money part of it into an Excel spreadsheet and said, at 6 deals, what do I make? At 12 deals, what do I make? At 30 deals a year, what do I make? And then made a decision based on that, where I'm going. And my thought process in the decision was, I want to start where I want to finish. Because I think it's disruptive. I don't know, and I'm not, I don't know if it was disruptive to you, but I would think that it might be disruptive to switch brokerages midstream. And so that's why I chose Remax initially and then just stayed with. Did you find it disruptive at all?
No, I just got a whole bunch of congratulations, good for you kind of
good.
deal, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But again, I do work off referrals, so
Yeah.
it was always Joe Dykes. It wasn't Roy LePage, Joe Dykes, it was just Joe Dykes,
Right.
right? I mean, I can tell you how many times people ask me what brokerage I worked for, and I was already working with them. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, yeah.
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 Yeah, and I think for myself too, no plans on leaving RBC. I absolutely love it there. You wonder if your personal brand is strong enough to, withstand that sort of thing. But it sounds like, and I think I started with this, they're with you for Joe, Jennie, Annabell. The fact that your office has a green sign instead of a blue sign, whatever, right? So, yeah, and if your clients don't even ask you,
Yeah.
how, it's probably obviously more something for you guys than it is for your clients, right? Mm-hmm. So, no, that's good to know. And I think my boss and I talk about this too with, your RBC, but tell me about your personal brand, because I think that nowadays that stands for something, right? People want to know the person, So, interesting. I'm definitely in the same boat that way, so. Thanks for listening, everyone. There you have it. That's Jennie, Joe, and Annabell. Get ready for part 2 of this, and we are going to talk about investor clients versus owner-occupied. We're going to talk about balancing the expectation of clients in this really weird market with no inventory, multiple offers, stuff like that. And, of course, how do they look to refer business to partners, inspectors, lawyers, great mortgage people like myself? What do they look for in that relationship? Don't forget to check that episode out, and you can also follow me on Facebook and Twitter, same handle, RBC Stephen Green, and until next time, we will talk to you soon.
Thank you for listening to the Green Effect Podcast. Subscribe to this podcast on iTunes or Google Play so you catch the next episode. And don't forget to leave a review. Much appreciated.